What is up, everybody? It's Joe from JLW Games coming at you with another cool video. Back in Planet Coaster in Westwood, of course. And in this episode, we're going to be working a lot on the River Rapids ride, which is a lot still to do, honestly. So what we have left to do, pretty much, most of this episode consists a lot of rock work. So there is a lot of rock work going into this episode, so it's going to be a lot of rock work. So it isn't the most exciting episode in the world, but we also do get to the tunnel and a little bit of the queue line and just bits like that. And we also do a little bit of building as well, which is works as a prop as you'll see in the future. So anyways, this River Rapids ride, of course, is going to be heavily themed. We've already talked about the theme in the last episode, so I kind of want to talk about, while we're doing all this rock work, the future of this park and what it has to hold later down the road. So I'm still debating whether or not to actually put a roller coaster in this section of the park, which is the shores, or actually leave it the way it is. Maybe a couple of more flat rides and not restaurants, but more buildings and stuff like that, like gift shops and different shops and stuff like that will add to the experience of the park itself. So I want to make sure when this park is finally opened that there's going to be a lot of guests pouring into this park, and I can't wait to see how that turns out. Now, that being said, for roller coaster wise, I want to kind of talk about how many roller coasters are going to be in this park, because a lot of people would probably want to know that. Now, it is going to be, again, like more of a family owned theme park, but it's going to be heavily themed throughout the park. So being a family theme park, there's not going to be a ton of roller coasters, but it's going to be growing over the years, and I think that's going to be kind of a cool thing. So anyways, as for roller coasters, I kind of want to name off what the plans are. I do plan to have maybe about 4 to 6 roller coasters, and 6 at the max at this point, and that's simply because I don't feel like you'd be able to fit a whole lot in here the way I want it to do, or the way I want this to turn out. So anyways, again, I have said it's planned out, so I do have a couple of roller coaster ideas that are already in development for the park. So as we all know, I do want to put in sort of a mine train ride. I think that would be the first coaster to go into the park, so that is going to be a fun one to try and accomplish, and I think it'll actually be a pretty decent family coaster. It's not going to be anything too big. Another one is going to be a B&M floorless coaster. I think that'll be a nice addition, one of the bigger rides in the park. It's going to be a basic B&M floorless, most likely. Nothing too fancy, but again, there's going to be a lot of heavy theming throughout the park. So that's a B&M floorless. I also want to most likely have a wooden coaster, which will also be nice for the family as well. I think a lot of families will ride that one. So a wooden coaster is definitely in as well. And then as for number 4, I have to get my thoughts here. I was almost thinking about an aero looping coaster, something along those lines, or something kind of a classic. I think that would be a very great addition to the park. So those 4 are definitely ones that I'm really looking at the moment. I also want to try and get a launch coaster in. I'm undecided which kind of launch coaster at this point. So that's about 5 right there. And the 6th one that I would want to do is definitely an RMC wooden coaster. I think that would work very well in the park as well. So that would be the 6 coasters if I would choose to do all 6 of those. Something along those lines. So I think it would be kind of cool because, there's minimal steel in there. There's a lot of woody. That'd be 2 wooden coasters, with the RMC and most likely like a GCI style type of wooden coaster would be going in. But anyways, those are kind of the coaster ideas that I'm having, and a lot of those are developing. I don't know how soon we'll get to our first coaster. I want to get to it fairly quickly and try and see where it's going to go and in the future. So, and when I say 4 to 6 coasters, I mean this because they'll all probably eventually make it in to the park. But like I said, I want this park to develop over the years, so there might be coasters that will not come until further down the line once the park goes into construction. Like, I want to have a storyline to this park as well, kind of like what I did in the 24-hour live stream. Towards the end of that live stream, I actually created a park that was going to have a storyline and add, rides each year or new attractions and different stuff throughout the years. And a lot of people keep asking me if I'm going to add or continue that park, and the answer is probably most likely yes, because I think that's a lot of fun. Like I said, this is going to be the first major park that I've ever completed, and I can't wait to get it more finished. And here we are in Park 6, and we've only got 2 rides at this point, and that's kind of insane to think about. Like, I feel like we should have more done, but that's how much detailing we're trying to put in each section of the park and each ride itself. So this is going to be taking a long time, and this is why I'm going to be probably posting Westwood nearly every single day, and that's kind of the goal, is to be posting these episodes quite frequently the next couple months to try and get it finished. My goal is to get this park finished before March of 2017, or somewhere around March of 2017, because I want this to be open by March, and that's kind of like my goal, to have the cinematic video around March and stuff like that. So I'm giving myself plenty of time, but I want to make sure that it does get finished in the right way. So I'm not going to rush this by no means. Now, this is the part of the section of the river rapids where it's actually going to go into a tunnel and actually have some really cool theming elements inside of there, which we don't get around to very much. We just mostly do rock work and more natural work in this episode, more than props. So there's not really any props yet, or triggers or anything that I get into. That will probably be in the next episode, where we actually get into the triggers and different stuff like that. So anyways, I hope you guys are enjoying this River Rapids ride. It's my first attempt at a River Rapids ride, and I actually think it's turning out quite nicely. And there's a lot more to do in this River Rapids ride. I want to make sure that it's very heavily themed to what we're going for. So at the end, I think I want to try and put something like treasure chest or something, I don't know, anything, where there's a lot of stuff at the end, to make sure that, hey, you made it to the end of the River Rapids, so you get this big reward, as we talked about in the storyline of the ride earlier in the last episode. So anyways, there's a lot more to do, and I do get a little bit into the station here, and I did get kind of hung up in the part, but we'll get to that in just a little bit. Anyways, so again, this episode consists of a lot of rock work. I wanted to make sure I get the rock work done real quick. And again, I'm going to be adding like a lot of foliage and trees as well around these areas to try and theme it up a little bit more. And that's going to be kind of a challenge, and I think we're up to the challenge. So anyways, it's there's a lot that goes into rides like this, I think, and they're just very time consuming and stuff like that. And I do plan on having a log flume in this park as well. That way we have a good amount of different water rides in the park itself. So a lot of triggery stuff to be added into this as well, and I can't wait to get to the next water ride, because the water rides have a really cool look to them, I think, when you do a lot of theming with them, especially the River Rapids ride. So it actually came out, I actually test ran it, and it actually came out with some pretty decent statistics. It had yellow for the excitement rating, almost 5 near 5 excitement rating. I think it ended up being like 4.6 or 7, maybe 4.8, I can't remember, but not too bad on excitement rating. Nausea was actually 2.0, which was still in the green, but it was like, wow, that's quite a bit of nausea, for probably because it goes in circles quite a bit, I don't know, but also all that stuff. So I wanted to make sure I put a lot of rock work inside the tunnel as well to give it a better look on the inside and stuff like that. So there was a lot of rock work going on the inside as well in this section of the ride, the River Rapids. So I'm trying to still come up with a name for this ride, and I almost thought about like Raging River or something like that, Westwood Shores Raging River, something like that. I think it would be kind of an appropriate name, because it is a dangerous river that most people can't go down without, panicking. So, anyways, it's going to be something along those lines, like Raging River, or like the name of the river. It could be something like Chaos River or something like that. I don't know. I'm still developing what it's going to be called, because you want to make sure you get the name right when theming as well, that it goes along with the storyline and theming and everything like that. So you gotta make sure all that is the way it should be. You don't want to just ignore it and just kind of like throw a name out there for no reason. So I think Raging River or Chaos River or something intimidating with the river name. So that is kind of something that I am kind of looking at the moment. So so there's a lot of rock work on top of this. I decide on the tunnel pieces and the terrain that I just like bombard it with like natural stuff, like rocks and trees and bushes and stuff like that. It actually gives it a really cool natural look, which we do get into in just a little bit, or just a moment rather, because it's so cool. I can't express of how excited I am for this park. This is my dream park. It really is my dream park, because I've always wanted to make like a westerny type themed park, and that's kind of what I really like to have, is a westerny theme park, because there's just so much theming that goes into it, and some really cool themes that actually go into these parks and stuff. They have so much thought into them, and each and every ride has so much theming around them and a story around them. They each have stories. Like, that's the one part I love. Like, you're inside the story when you're in the park, and that's kind of what I want all my guests to feel, and I think it'll be really, really cool. So as for roller coasters, I can't wait to see what I come up with for those themes and the storylines to those, because there's history behind each ride, and just so much behind every single thing you see in the park. Every single thing, every object has a meaning in the park that is being presented. So that is going to be really fun, and I wish there was a little bit more of some westerny themed rides, but we're going to go around and try and make sure we do the best we can with those, with what we have. So I still am debating whether one of the roller coasters is probably going to be on Westwood Shores, and most likely there will be. If it's not going to be in the next couple episodes, it might be very soon down the road. Now, I really want to develop this area a little bit more before moving on, because there's still a lot more to do on Westwood Shores, because there's a lot of watery areas in this section of the park, and there's going to be a lot more in the future. So as for the log flume is going to be in a separate area of the park, I think, simply because I don't want the water rides right next to each other. I think it would be a better idea to have them a little bit further away, separated into stuff like that. So I think this is going to be a very good family ride that a lot of people are going to love. And again, this is going to be like more of a family park, where there's going to be a lot of families coming in. Of course, it's going to have its thrill rides and stuff like that. There's going to be a lot of thrills, but there's also going to be a lot of those rides that is for everyone, that you can just have fun with, and heavily theme quite a bit. And that's kind of the thing I'm very excited for in this park. Completely. Like, I have so many like roller coaster ideas coming through, and I want to make sure I also mess with the terrain a little bit, a lot on this park as well, because I want to make sure the terrain's not just flat. And it gives a park a lot more. A park gets so much more attention, I think, and looks so much better and natural if you have a lot of different terrain differences in different parts of the park. I think that it actually helps out quite a bit, and there's different sections I'm going to have at different levels of stuff like that, but you want to try. It's easiest to keep it flat, but it is kind of weird. But anyways, as for the entrance and exits, I wanted to put the exit on the opposite side of the ride, but it's actually becoming a little bit of a pain, and because there's not a lot of room back there. So I don't know exactly what I'm going to do at this point. I tried to mess around with it a little bit, but it didn't work out the greatest I could. could figure out. So anyways, the queue line is going to be interesting because I decided to put like this tunnel for the queue line just to add a lot of cool elements to the queue line. I think the queue line is going to be heavily themed as well, because we got to make sure every single part of this park is themed. Even the queue lines have to be like top-notch themed in every aspect that you see. So they have to be heavily themed, the rides have to be heavily themed, so that means a lot of detailing for every single aspect of the park, and that's something that can be very challenging. And I think that you just gotta experiment, and it's very difficult indeed, but not impossible. So this River Rapids ride is turning out very nicely, and I can't wait to figure out how it's going to look in the end. I think it's going to look fantastic, and I think guests are going to appreciate all the scenery around it, because I think that's a huge part of every ride is scenery, especially when it comes to a park like this, because you have to do everything. I can't stress it enough. Like, you have to do so much in every single aspect of a park, especially if it's themed. So anyways, I want to hear what your guys' thoughts are on the River Rapids ride. Apparently a lot of you love the fact that every ride is having a lot of storyline to it, and I think that's a really awesome thing. Like, I'm very glad that you guys think that this is awesome. A lot of people think this is turning out awesome. I can't wait, and it's actually not getting as many views as I thought it would, but that's okay. Like, I'm not gonna stop it no matter how many views it's getting, so that's not gonna make a difference, because this is just a passion of mine that I want to have this park exist so much. Because, like, if this park was really real, of course I'd be visiting it almost every day, and a lot of people have said that too. Like, we haven't even gotten into the roller coasters. We've only got 2 rides in the park, and everyone's already like, oh man, I want to go and go to this park if it was real. I'd be like, wow. Like, it's insane that people are already thinking that. So I was gonna do the exit above here. I still might have to do it that way, but it's kind of awkward the way it is, and I think it might work in the end, but I'm gonna figure out in the end, probably in the next episode, of how that's all gonna turn out. So I did a couple things, and it didn't really work out the greatest for the exit pathway, but I think I got a new idea now that I'm actually thinking about it afterwards of how it's gonna work. But anyways, that's gonna be pretty much it for this episode. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe for more Planet Coaster. So make sure you guys have a great day and an even cooler tomorrow, and I will catch you guys next time. We're hopefully going to finish it up in the next episode. Thank you guys so much, and I will catch you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching, and goodbye.